All right, we are back from closed session, and we are now going to open the regular meeting. It is now 7:06. Let's see. Who should we pick on tonight? Jonathan? Jonathan in the front row? Jonathan, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jonathan. Let me get something here. All right, we're on to the approval of the agenda. We have two items that I know of that need to be corrected. Under 1C closed session item 2, there were actually 3 items for action, not 2, as listed in the agenda. And on the consent calendar, which is item 11C4, or excuse me, G4, Los Spanish Junior High FFA students and advisor retreat. We're going to pull that item and not act on it tonight. Dr. Marshall, are there any other changes to the agenda?
No further changes. You caught the item that I was going to say.
Okay. So with that, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I so move.
Second. We got a motion by Mr. Munoz, seconded by Mr. Lieb. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's carried unanimously. All right, we have some fantastic students here tonight that we're going to talk about.
Yes, at the last board meeting, if you recall, we had a group of students from Westside Elementary going to nationals. And what's interesting to note is that these are 6th graders, but they were actually competing against 7th graders. That's very impressive. I mean, that's a round of applause right there. I mean, again, you had a 6th grade team going against 7th graders and winning. That's very impressive. So tonight what we're going to do, we have the pentathlon team, the nationals team from Westside Union, and we have several the team members here. And what we're going to do is we're going to call them up, and they're going to be recognized. We have certificates. And Dr. Lauder's going to come up and kind of tell us a little bit about the individual awards that the students receive. I think that's important. But I want them to come up, and we have certificates, and we'll stand up and do a group photo and do shake hands and such. So let's start with Angelisa Begley. Come up, please. Rachel Betchart. Reese Betchart. Sienna Halloran. Audrey Lugo. We'll still give a round of applause. Max Menifee. Jorge Olivares is not here tonight. Round of applause, please. Delia Perez Valdez. And Ward Sabe. And last but certainly not least, their advisor, Ms. Schultz. Okay, Dr. Lauder, please come forward.
Ms. Schultz is going to read each of their individual accomplishments in our nationals competition.
So when we got to nationals, there were two divisions. There were the champions division and the invitational. There were 82 teams. There were 36 of those were seventh grade teams from across the nation, from everywhere from Alaska to Florida, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, all over. And so our students actually competed in the champions division because if you remember, we are the seventh grade state champs of California. They compete in three divisions, the honors, the scholastic, and the varsity divisions. I will start with the honors division. Max Menifee received a silver in science, seventh grade science honors. He received a gold in seventh grade history, social science honors. And he received a bronze division champ seventh grade in fine arts. Rachel Betchart received a bronze champ seventh grade social science honors. Sienna Holleran received a bronze division champ seventh grade fine arts honors division. In our scholastic division, Reese Betchart received a bronze in seventh grade history social science and a gold in seventh grade literature, scholastic. Ward Saab, he received a bronze division champ seventh grade science, a gold division champ seventh grade social science, a gold division champ seventh grade fine arts scholastic, a silver division champ seventh grade mathematics, and he received the gold division champ seventh grade overall for the scholastic division. Delia received a bronze in division champ seventh grade science varsity. Jorge Oliveras received a bronze division seventh grade social science. He received a silver division champ seventh grade fine arts, a silver division champ seventh grade literature varsity, and he was also the silver division champ seventh grade overall varsity. Two parts to the competition. One is the individual awards that I just read, where they study on their own, they compete on their own. The other part of it has to do with the team award called Super Quiz. And in Super Quiz, we are the #1 seventh grade Super Quiz champions in the nation. And when they put all of our scores together, we are the seventh grade champion division, second place team overall winners. These are a tremendous group of students and parents that have worked extremely hard, dedicated their entire year to this, and have come away with some amazing achievements and accomplishments, and I'm very proud of all of them.
Okay. Before they shake hands, I want to do a group photo before we shake hands.
Okay. And we also have to commemorate the first ever Los Banos Unified School District pentathlon team, not only attending nationals, but winning second place. We have put together just something to say thank you and to commemorate these students for the district office.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we couldn't be more proud of all of you, and thank you to you for spending all the hours studying and preparing for this. Thank you to your coach for doing an absolute fantastic job. To your parents for getting you to all those extra study sessions and probably making sure that you studied at home every night and did your stuff. You guys did absolutely fantastic. We can't be prouder of you. Now, the only thing I want to say is that when some of you walked down here, you were holding onto your medals so they wouldn't clank. Don't do that. You earned it. You earned the clank. So we want to hear the clank when you walk out, please. And congratulations, and we are very, very proud of you.
Tina's still shooting.
All right. All right.
Where's my sheet with the Martin? Where's that at? Oh. Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations. 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 Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Where's that sheet with the retirees? What's that picture? Right here? Okay, right here. Okay.
Got to hear that beautiful clank on the way out. Yes. All right.
I'll wait till they finish. Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. All right, next we have some retirees that weren't recognized last month due to a scheduling conflict, but we're going to recognize them tonight. First, we have from the principal of the TK Center, Mr. Dan Martin, with 27 years of service to the district.
Congratulations. Love retirement.
Okay. Next, we have from Charleston, Mrs. Lynn Martin, 25 years of service.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
We have a couple of retirees that couldn't be here this evening. We have Sarah Monroe from Pacheco High School with 18 years of service. And Miss Lucy Savala from Transportation, 29 years of service. So let's give our retirees one more collective round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall, and congratulations and happy retirement. I will tell you from this side of the retirement thing, it's really cool. You're going to enjoy it. So congratulations and thank you for all your years of service to Las Banas. All right. Any member of the public can request an item be placed on our agenda for
Mr. President?
future meeting. Oops, I'm sorry. You have one other thing. Okay.
We do have one public presentation.
Oh,
Okay, Ms. Patricia Ramos Anderson, please come forward.
I didn't know that.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Patricia Ramos Anderson. We're here to acknowledge one of the students that is a graduate, and he wasn't able to get his award at the time, and we're here to give it to him today. This young man, his name is Jonathan Padilla, and he has been part of Los Baños since he was small, a child. And he's lived through a lot of things, even at birth, having a digestive problem at birth. And by the age of 8th grade, he had to address cancer at a young age, bone cancer. And he continued to move with the support of his mom, the family, and also his school that kept him active in a positive manner and being engaged, helped him get through this, and his drama. He loved drama a lot, even going through his chemotherapy. And this young man has gone through a lot at a young age, and he's here now that he graduated. Graduated, he'll be going to San Francisco State University. He'll be living there on the dorms, but with the support of the community, the school, and the donors of scholarships, as well as with LULAC, he got the presidential award for the scholarship of $250. And we wanted to recognize him and to have the rest of the community get to see him that you can do it. And don't let anything hold you back. Very, very important. And that's what helped him get through all of this with class, choir, or all the activities, and staying focused and not worry about it's poor me. He was about overcoming, moving forward, and being around positive people that would help him get through what he got through. So with that, I'm here to put his sash from LULAC as a president, being active. Also, a certificate for his scholarship, and his mom's here and extended family member. Dad? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't get to meet him. That's why I met Mom this whole time. So, if Jonathan Padilla, if you could please come up, I'll put this on you.
Are we ready to move on? Okay, all right. All right. Members of the public who have something they would like to place on our agenda for future meetings can do so by contacting the superintendent and at least 2 weeks prior to a regularly scheduled meeting. And if that is within our purview, we can schedule it for a future meeting. Anybody here tonight that wishes to make any comments on any item on tonight's agenda may do so when that item comes before us. All you need to do is come up to the podium, you'll be recognized and you'll be able to speak to that item. Once the board starts its deliberations, then there will be no more public comment on that item. And if there's anybody here tonight that wishes to address the board on any item that is not on tonight's agenda, may do so. And I forgot to mention that the public comment on agenda items is limited to 3 minutes per speaker with a total of 20 minutes per agenda item. In the comments that are not on tonight's agenda, each speaker is allotted 3 minutes. If there are multiple speakers on the same item, then it is limited to 20 minutes for that particular topic. With that, is there anybody here tonight that wishes to address the board on any item that is not on tonight's agenda? Good evening.
Hello, my name is Amy Benias. On Monday, May 15th, my husband, Mike Benias, was fired as Creekside Junior High School's head 8th grade baseball coach, as well as their head 8th grade basketball coach. When he was given this news, it was a few hours before the baseball team's first playoff game after the regular season. The reasons given were minor. He was told some baseballs were missing and that he canceled a few baseball practices too close to the start of the practice. Perhaps those things were true, I don't know. But what I later learned was that a parent of one of the boys on the team slandered my husband's good name and character to the point where he was let go. When my husband called to tell me, I was in shock. Let me tell you a little bit about my husband as a coach. My husband is a third-generation coach. Many coaches start coaching to lead their child's team to victory, but not Mike. Mike started coaching other people's kids because he loves being a coach. From girls' high school golf to co-ed junior high baseball and almost every grade level in basketball, elementary, junior high, high school, and junior college, my husband has been a leader for children and young adults in sports. As new parents to our son, Luca, I was hesitant for Mike to take the head 8th grade baseball coaching position this season. Mike and I both work full-time and are each in full-time graduate programs. Plus, we have our baby and my 2 older daughters. But Mike wanted to coach baseball. He wanted to be a coach on the baseball field named after his late grandfather, George Benias. With a population of almost 50,000 and in the middle of nowhere, California, Mike brought NBA coaches and a past professional basketball player from China to meet the youth of Los Banos. Without Mike as a coach, our community's children would not have been exposed to such greatness and might never be again in the future. Mike doesn't just coach in the Central Valley. To gain expertise in the field, Mike has coached along NBA, NFL, and MLB professionals like Kyrie Irving, Reggie Bush, and Buster Posey. Mike even coached current NFL football quarterback Josh Allen in basketball when he was living in Fireball. I'd like the board to look at why this happened. How does a Karen complaint hold so much weight? Great coaches can't be replaced, and Creekside lost one of the best.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Good evening.
Good evening, school board. My name is Noah Jones. Tonight I'm coming to you guys as a volunteer track coach at Los Banos High School. We just heard at the Spring Sports Awards banquet that the new track will begin construction on November 1st. So I'm here telling you guys, thank you for that, because the track at Los Banos High School is in desperate need of repair. So I wanted to say thank you for approving that and for getting that project started. Supposedly it's starting November 1st-ish. So I'm here to say thanks for that. The second reason that I'm here is to say that this project can't just stop at a new track for the stadium. The track program desperately needs new track equipment. This is one of many athletic sports that kids play at the school that just over time, the facilities, the equipment, all of that stuff it's just old. It's outdated and it just needs to be replaced. So I'm here to just tell you that. I've coached the throwers at the high school Currently, the discus ring, I don't know if you guys know where the discus ring is at Los Banos High School, but it's way over by the JV baseball field. So when I'm coaching shot putters and we have discus, we have both, or do both events. When I'm doing that, we either have to go all the way over to the high school, walk through that alleyway to get over there, or we all stay in the shot put ring and use that. So that's just one example. That discus ring needs to be moved, and it needs to be resurfaced. Like, I guarantee you guys that the shot put and discus ring is the original shot put and discus ring at that school from way back when. And over time, like, I'm out there with borrowing grinders and trying to grind the cement down to make it so that it's not so slippery, so that the kids can compete and compete at a higher level, or the highest level that they're able to compete at. We don't have a pole vault pit. Like, we don't have one. So none of the kids in track can even try. We have no idea. We could have an Olympic champion pole vaulter in Los Banos, and we don't even know it because they're not even able to participate and do pole vault. The high jump pit, again, is old. The hurdles are also outdated. And I mean, I know that track equipment is expensive. We all know that everything is expensive. Shoot a loaf of bread is expensive these days. But I'm just here to make you guys aware that there desperately needs some new equipment and some new upkeep to go with the new track. We need to put some new stuff along with it. It's difficult going to, for example, like Ceres High School. We get off the bus, we walk to Ceres High School, all their stuff's brand new. And our kids are like, holy cow, is that what this is supposed to look like?
No, you're 3 minutes.
3 minutes is up?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that was fast.
Give us a concluding thing if you
Okay,
want.
I took 4 pictures I want you guys to look at. Track's a great sport for kids to participate. Just encourage you guys to see if there's any way we can get some new track equipment to go along with the new track. Here's the pictures. You guys can just pass them around. Thanks for your time. Sorry I went over 3 minutes.
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Do we have anybody else who wishes to address the board on any item that is not on tonight's agenda? All right. Seeing no one come forward, then we're going to go on to reports. California School Employees Association, CSEA. Seeing no one here, on to Los Banos Teachers Association, LBTA. Seeing no one here, on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Marshall.
Okay, I don't have that much tonight, but congratulations, first of all, to all of our graduates this year. We had a chance to attend a lot of the promotion ceremonies at the junior high, at the high schools, elementary schools, and I just want to thank all of our staff members and students and families for another good year, and thank you to the families for their support. We have a few people that are leaving, and I want to kind of say my goodbyes to them again. I know I acknowledged Renee Leonard earlier. She's leaving us and going to Merced City. She'll do great things. Mr. Martin, I know you'll be retiring. Dan, enjoying retirement. You know, I miss seeing you around. One thing I want to add about Dan is that you look at the TK program and the center when we started, and it's a very popular program in our district. And I have to attribute it to the success of Mr. Martin. I mean, he really, took it from nothing and made it into something. So I need to go ahead and say that publicly tonight. I'm going to miss Lynn. I'm seeing you on the bike trail lately, riding bikes, but I'm sure I'll see you around if you also, enjoy it. And it's good that you're doing this when you can enjoy it. A lot of people, they wait too long, and then when they leave, they don't get time to enjoy it. You're doing it now where you can enjoy yourself, so do that. We have a couple other individuals tonight that I want to recognize that are going on the greener pasture, so to speak. We have Yolanda Cork-Anthony, our Director of Special Services. She's going on to, she lives in the Monterey area, and she got a job in Pacific Grove, so I'm sure that's an easier commute than from Monterey to Los Banos. So we're gonna miss her. One thing, I kind of got spoiled over the last few years because, with special education is very complex. And when we go to the county meetings and they give us all this information, there's a lot about special education. You talk about millions of dollars. And what's been nice for the last few years, I have a special education background, so I can read the information and kind of decipher it. But it was nice to have someone that really understood the process and can kind of give me the cliff notes. This is what this stack, this is what they're asking you and such. And when you vote this way. So I'm going to miss that. I'm really going to miss that. Mr. Iqbal, same kind of scenario. He's going to a very similar role in the Central Unified District. He lives in Clovis, so Clovis is a much easier commute to Central than Los Banos. Again, he's did a great job. It's nice. Every superintendent, one thing that you're responsible for, you have to make sure that you have people in place that respect the fiscal integrity of the district. People that will tell you, no, you can't, you can spend it, but you'll go broke if you do. People that will tell you no. And he was always that person. In some cases, I'm always like, sometimes I'm yes. Oh, yeah. And he's like, no, you can't do that. And you need those people. That's how districts stay solvent. When you don't have that, you find yourself on the news like other places. So it's, you're going to be missed. One thing that I've been doing in terms of when I talk to, I know his new superintendent, I know her well. And I explained to her, okay, I'll settle these wonderful things. It's true, but you're going to owe me for this in terms of. So I want to know what's the best restaurant in Fresno, and I'm going to eat well because she's getting a good one. So I'm going to say to both of you, you'll do great things. I know you will, but you definitely will be missed. So I wanted to just go ahead and say that to you both. And pretty much, like I said again. Get some time off. It's interesting. I started my presentation about the graduates this summer, and I guess about two weeks from Saturday, I'll be at my own. Wait, is it 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks from Saturday, I'll be at my own high school reunion. It'll be year 40 for us. So some of these people I haven't seen in 40 years, so that should be interesting. And it's just a good time. It's a good way. It was a good way to end the year. I mean, this year was challenging, but it was very nice to see. When you look at some of the accolades that attended, like with the promotions, I use two examples because these are just the two promotion ceremonies that I attended. At Creekside, hearing about when you said that the night that your 8th grade class had 30% of the students, am I correct, on the NB honor roll? That's a pretty good statistic. And I want to see how that translates, to our, data points that we'll get in the near future. And then we had an issue at graduation at Los Banos High School. That's when I attended, with seating of the of certain students. There were more students this year that were being recognized. So I think those are good things to kind of end the year on a high note. So with that being said, to everyone, have a good summer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Up next is the facilities report. Hello, Sherry.
Good evening. Evening, board members, President Pereira, and Dr. Marshall, and Amir for the last time. Makes me sad. So here's the presentation for the facilities update for June 8th. This first picture is basically all the fencing around the campus, around the project. The short little fence is going to be the perimeter fence around the track area. The picture in the middle is the perimeter fence. So on the outside of that is basically the park to the left there. And the picture on the right is the north fence that now they have completed all the whole north side of the fencing. So all behind the bleachers from the front all the way to the back is complete now for fencing. The southern perimeter fence, we've done agreements with those neighbors, and we'll be starting in the next few weeks, and our contractor has to provide 24-hour notice because we'll be doing some work from their property. So we've done all that, what we need to do to be able to do that. So buildings 100 and 300, the tack board has been installed. The flooring and wall tile is complete. We still have some finish work on the flooring. If you look in this picture, you can see those kind of streaks. That is not how it's supposed to look. So they're going to be coming back and fixing that. All the restroom fixtures have been installed. Basically, all that's left in the restrooms is the accessories, so the toilet paper, paper towel, soap dispenser, and hand dryers, they still need to put those in. The HVAC units, they are supposed to be coming next week and be set on the buildings. So that's very exciting. We were nervous that, we're going to keep getting pushed out, so they're not. They still need to install the whiteboards in the team rooms, and so those are coming along really nicely. And what we're going to be doing on the buildings, because they're about a couple of weeks out from being kind of complete, the contractor wants to start doing the punch list so we can start doing the repairs and things that need to be fixed as, they're kind of finishing up the rest of the project, instead of waiting till the end, then giving us the punch list and still needing to fix it. So that's why we're kind of doing it that way. So building 200, this picture here, you can see they started doing the concrete flat work. So it really looks really nice out there. They're doing it in sections so they can still move around the site, get to the different things. So like the HVAC, they're going to need to come put in there. They don't want to bring in big trucks and cranes on top of our new concrete. So they're leaving some areas for that. The roll-up doors and the ticket window, that whole area is basically complete. On the inside is the second picture over, and you can see where the stainless steel counters will go in there, and then a sink. The other equipment that we've ordered will be in here. Let's see what else about this. We've installed drinking fountains on all the outside of the buildings. They're going to be completing all the flat work around. They've completed irrigation lines. Some of the other things we need to still do is the signage. So all the signage and all the room numbers, plus on the one building, it has the big LB that's going to be on there. So they're going to be bringing that out all at the same time, installing those. The electrical will be started up next week, and so they'll be able to acclimate the rooms to make sure everything's working good, and they can do the balancing that they need to do. And then we still have some off-site improvements, which is all out in the front with the roll curb. That is with the city of Los Banos right now, and they're reviewing that, and we're waiting for their approval before we can bring that as a change order for those improvements that need to happen. Graduation went well. I did not hear anything back, so we tried. I walked out on the Friday before, trying to make sure everything was secure. Worked with the contractor. They cleaned up some of the temporary fences for us. Cleaned up the sidewalks, so everything seemed to go well. So that was really appreciated. Then we're on to the solar project. They are working right alongside the project right now. Our clips have been installed on the roof. The pictures are hard to see. I had to get kind of far back, but you can see the racking is there. It's 100% complete. They will be loading the panels next week. So they'll literally bring the panels, load them onto those racks, and start hooking them up, and then they will do the electrical. And then part of this project is also a new transformer, which is in the electrical yard, which is like halfway down into the stadium area. So that's part of their scope of work also. And then the Los Banos fire alarm replacement project. That's been kind of going, but it's been happening at night. And so now that school is out, they're able to start working during the day. So they're moving along a lot faster. The contractors are working in the older classroom wings right now. They're pulling the wire. Kind of how it's going is they do conduit, then wiring, then they put in the devices. These two pictures in the middle are where devices will be in the classroom wings. In the classrooms, that's a tile, and there'll be two different types of devices inside of there. So they're going through now, putting that there so they'll be able to come back and put those devices once the wiring is there. This gentleman here, he's setting up a temporary fire alarm panel. The one on the floor there, the red one, is the one that was on the wall. He removed that. He has set up the temporary one, so there will be continuous coverage for the school. while they're doing their work, and then they will. And then we're going to test each building as it is completed, so they'll be able to start demoing the equipment because they know it's tested and it's accurate. So they'll be able to demo the old abandoned equipment instead of just leaving it on the wall wondering, does that work? Does that not work? So that'll be nice. And then just a few other project highlights. Lofton Phase 2, we had our bid walk today. We had a great contractor turnout, and the bids are due on June 27th. And then the Los Banos High School lighting project started. And if you recall, we're doing the all exterior lighting, the gyms, the shops, the band room, and the choir, anything that was high ceilings. So any questions or? Oh, that seemed like a lot, but.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, on to board member reports. I'm going to start tonight because usually I go last. May was crazy. There was a lot of stuff, and it was really fun. So just to kind of highlight a few things, went to the Wizard of Oz. It was a great show. There were a number of concerts I attended: Los Banos Junior High School, Pacheco High School Choir, Pacheco High School Band, Creekside's Band. All wonderful performances by those kids. And of course, the staff put in lots of time. Attended a number of elementary open houses, and it was exciting to see the parents really excited in being there. There was parents and grandparents, and the kids were having a great time showing all their parents and grandparents and whoever else they brought along all their work. So it was quite an entertaining and exciting night for everybody. So thank you for putting in all the extra time to make that happen. Those were really great. As well as the TK Center too. The TK Center was a great open house too. Scholarship nights. I just want to thank all of the donors in the community who provided scholarships for our graduates. It's something great to see. I think they gave hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's the generosity of the community for our graduates is something to be noted. And so thank you to all the sponsors who gave scholarships, because our kids deserve it. They are some of the best kids that we have around. We have some really outstanding students in the district, and it's great that they were acknowledged. And so thank you to the sponsors. And for both events, they were so well done. Very well done. Thank you to the coordinators at both schools, both Los Banos High School and Pacheco High School, for putting those nights together. It was, I think the parents really appreciated, and of course I can speak for the board. I think we really appreciated all the work that went into it. It was a great evening, so thank you very much for doing that. It was exciting to see the large number of students that were reclassified. The EL reclassification ceremony was very well attended, and the number of students was amazing. So thank you to everybody that put in all the hard work to get all of our students reclassified. So that was a great evening too. Thank you to CSEA for their invitation to their end of the year celebration. A number of the board members, Dr. Marshall, we all attended. Food was great. Lots of door prizes were won by CSEA members. We didn't get to win any. But it was a great evening, and there was even dancing afterwards. So it was a fun evening. So thank you, CSEA, for inviting us. We really enjoyed ourselves that night. Again, I attended the Los Banos High School art showcase at the community center. We have some really talented artists in Los Banos. So that was a great event, and thank you for the invitation to that. Thanks to Volta for inviting all the board out to the flag raising ceremony for Memorial Day. That's always a wonderful event to get all the students out in front of the school and have our VFW and American Legion members there to raise the flag. So thank you for that invitation. And of course, we had the National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony at Los Banos Junior High. We had a number of students inducted, which was quite impressive. So thank you for the invitation to that. Even though it was 7:30 in the morning, we all got there, and it was another great event. And of course, without fail, there were lots of graduations. I mean, all of them were so well done. So thank you to the administration and staff who put all those together. From Crossroads to San Luis High, both junior highs, both high schools. They were all really well done. Thank you for the time putting them all together. I know we got to shake a lot of hands. Some of them were a little wet than others, but it was a great evening. The kids were excited, and thank you for putting on some great evenings for parents to see their kids cross the stage. I also attended the college and career fair at Creekside. That was very, very exciting to see those kids excited about things happening for their future. So thanks for putting that together. And of course, we have all our retirees. Thank you for all your years of service. That was absolutely, phenomenal. I know the number of years. I can't remember what it was, but it was a lot of years when you add them all up. So thank you all for your years of service to us. And again, thank you to Yolanda and Amir. It's been a great time working with you. So thank you for your time here, and good luck to where you're going. And of course, congratulations to all of our graduates for all their hard work and their next endeavors out. So now you guys get to say ditto. So. I know. Well, usually I'm last and I just say ditto. So now you guys get to do it. So, Mr. Lieb.
Say ditto.
Ditto. So I'm gonna everything that President Pereira just said, I will echo 1,000,000%. I apologize if you all just love sitting there listening to us just ramble on about everything that we've done over the last 60 days, but it's because we're so proud of everything that you're doing. So kudos to everyone in the district for everything they do, for everything they're doing. But here's just a few of my highlights, and some of them will be duplicates, but some will not. The most fun I have as a trustee by far is graduation time. It's so much fun to shake all the hands and look into the eyes of these students that are our future, and they're the ones that are going to be going on to that next level. I love doing that. So all the graduation ceremonies and promotion ceremonies at Crossroads, San Luis, Los Banos Junior High, and Pacheco High, as a board of trustee, we can't be everywhere always, so we have to split up sometimes where we are. So those are what I attended. I did attend the 7:30 morning session for the Los Banos National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony at Los Banos Junior High, and my daughter was part of that group back in the day, so it was very special to see and watch that. I also attended the reclassification ceremony, so all the open houses, scholarship nights, FFA, athletics, music, and senior banquet awards ceremonies. I went to as many as I could. They were all excellent. Was very impressed with all of our students. And I want to particularly thank Miano Elementary Principal Zelda Diaz-Harper for bringing her brother George Diaz and his race car to the last day of school. And she also brought her 2015 blue Corvette, which is a Dodger blue Corvette, and she let me sit in it. And I took a photo and I sent it on to my family and friends, and they all think I own a Corvette now. So thank you very much. It will never happen, but it was nice that I had that. So wonderful car. Congrats to Westside Pentathlon team, and to Sergio De Alba for receiving the 2023 Presidential Innovation Award for Environmental Educators. I took the tour with a representative from the state that was there, and I was impressed with the 16 gardens that are all part of that school, and they're actually growing bananas on that campus. So yeah, thought that was important. I hope all the students enjoy their summer. Please check out the Los Banos Library. They have daily activities as well as the Los Banos Community Center recreation activities. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you. On to Ms. Gattuso.
You know, being new to the board, nobody warned me that May was the month that you do not take a vacation. So I apologize. I missed a lot of things. I know better. Note to self, next year I won't be gone during May. So some of the things that I did get the chance to attend, of course, have already been spoken about. But I do want to congratulate your career at College and Career Fair at Creekside. That was your first one, correct? So only can grow from there. So I do want to say congratulations on that. Zelda, I'm really upset. Why didn't I get to sit in the car? I just don't understand. I thought we were friends, but but that was really great for the kids as well. When it comes to graduation, I mean, the culmination of everything the kids have done is always in the graduation. And it was so heartwarming. And if I hear pomp and circumstance, I'm just a sucker and with tears, because it's just such a great thing that the kids go through. So congratulations to all the graduates, junior high, high school. Thank you for allowing me to announce the Los Banos High School Award. I do appreciate that, even though, I didn't do really great on one of the names, but, but that's about all I have. So thank you so much and have a great summer. And again, congratulations to all graduates.
All right, thank you. On to Ms. Smith.
Well, congratulations to all the students in the district. It was a whirlwind to me, but I'm sure for staff and students it wasn't. I got to come in at the end and enjoy all the festivities, so it was wonderful. One student stood out to me. I have a friend in the district. I call him my friend. He came as a kindergartner, and he went through 12th grade here, and he struggled for every year he was in school. On graduation night, he was promoted, and he was the happiest young man I've seen in my life. So I am so super proud of this kid. It made me cry to see him come across the stage, because it was a struggle for him every year since kindergarten. And it wasn't that he wasn't given the tools. It was a lot of it had to do with him, his behavior. But he is a happy young man. He's going to the military, and he has made his family very, very proud. And I have to say, with all that he went through, the school stood behind him every year, and he was not an easy kid. So I want to say thank you to all the teachers that ran across this young man. And I'm sure if you know who I'm talking about, you know the young man. So I just want to say thank you for that. And it's a gentleman he touches my heart so much, and I'm just happy to see him come across the stage. And all the things that Anthony mentioned and Jean mentioned and Lori mentioned, I did a lot of that. But one thing that I did that I was shocked, I went to the CSEA dinner, and Anthony wouldn't dance with me, and Dr. Marshall wouldn't either. But they loved the music. You should have seen them. They were loving the music. I said, let's dance. They were like, oh, no, we can't do that. They wouldn't even dance with me. So next year at CSEA, Anthony, you owe me a dance. And Dr. Marshall, you owe me one too. and enjoy. I was ready to get down. I came to groove. I had my right shoes on and everything. Next time we'll dance. Okay. All right. So enjoy your summer and just have a great time. And school will be here. Another whirlwind year will happen, and we'll be here again next year congratulating all these wonderful students in our district. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Valdeo.
I know you don't want to hear the same thing over again, but I had the honor of going to Pacheco High School's graduation, and I really feel like it was an honor. Dan, I know that I was so impressed that the students ran that graduation ceremony. That really made my day to see those students come up, and I think you only spoke once. Other than that, the kids ran the ceremony, and it was so great to see them, especially a new school like Pacheco, who doesn't have a huge alumni yet. They will. And I know they're going to go out in the world and find themselves, and a lot of them are going to come back to Los Banos and be our leaders in our town. I mean, I was reflecting on that because I think there's 3 of us only that grew up in Los Banos, went to Los Banos High School, and came back. But I know there's lots of people who have given back to this town. And I know when I graduated from high school, first thing I wanted to do was get out of this town because it was small, there's nothing to do. But I decided to come back, and it was the best decision I ever made to be able to give back to a town that and develop a school district that I think is already great, but is going to even get better as time goes by.
That's it. All right. Thank you. Mr. Munoz.
I can start with ditto. Been everywhere. Month of May. Okay. Wizard of Oz. Velasco Art Center. Creekside. I mean, I have it all. It was really great. I really participated. Really, it was really something. The thing that really I like to mention is over at Pacheco High School graduation. Here we are, we're handing out the diplomas, calling names and handing out diplomas. These students were so excited, they were walking off the stage without their diploma. We had to pull them back. Say, hey, wait. Don't leave without this. But it was really something to see. Okay, so I'll say ditto to all that. It was great. Even over at Los Banos Junior High, I attended the graduation, 10:30, 8:30, 10:30, and 12:30. Even with the kids, when I was shaking their hands, and I say, now you're free. And the smile that went on their face, I couldn't believe that. They were just glad to get out. Okay, with that. And then last, I would like to announce the PLTI, Parent Leadership Training Institute graduation ceremony. This ceremony is going to be held at the Los Banos Fairgrounds from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. this Monday, June 12th, at the Germano Building. And this is for everybody out there in TV land. Come and support your community parents for the completion of their program, their 20-week program. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Okay, on to new business. First item is our local control accountability plan, the LCAP. And is Dr. Ritchie.
Good evening, board. Right before I start, one of the things I'd like to share with you is a piece of data that I did not have a chance to put in the report tonight, but something we don't do enough celebrating of the things we do great. We're always looking at what's the next thing we need to fix. And so it came to my attention recently as we're doing a data dive, we're looking at some of the things that we've accomplished as a district. We found that if you compare us to like-sized districts, there's about 70 districts in the state of California that have about 70% of their students participate in the free and reduced lunch program. About 25% of their students are English learners, considered English learners. If you look at those 70 districts across the state of California, they range from about 1,000 students to over 50,000 students in terms of size of districts. We are the #1 district in terms of graduation rate. We have the highest number of students, the highest percentage of students, I should say, who graduate in the state of California for districts who look like us. And it's a testament to the hard work of the staff of Los Banos, but also I want to acknowledge tonight in the audience that it's the testament to the work of our administrators who lead and direct the work in the schools every day. And while we laud our teachers, respect them, and we appreciate what they do and all of our classified staff, our administrators don't always get the credit for the work they do. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and the hard work that happens each and every day. So on to the fun stuff. So the local...
Dr. Ritchie?
Yes.
And can I just say one
Please,
thing about
interrupt
that
all you
also,
want.
is that they graduate from high school, but it starts in TK and kindergarten. So all those elementary teachers and the elementary administrators prepare these kids for high school to do those graduations. So it starts from the very, very beginning. So
That's
they all
absolutely
work
correct.
so hard.
It's one of the unique things about a district like Los Banos, where sometimes there's a knock about, well, it's isolated, it's in, it's Nowhereville. I think we heard a couple times tonight, and I grew up in a town like that. One of the great things about districts like this, though, is that there's a sense of community, and there's a sense of purpose, in that our kids are our kids, and that we know when they enter in kindergarten, we know that we make a promise that they're going to leave here with the skills and everything they need in order to go and make their mark on the world. And so far, we can say that we are the #1 district in the state of California in providing our students with that key to what they need to do in their future. And we're only going to get better from here. And the local control accountability plan is part of that work. With the LCAP, it's set by statute. There's 8 priorities that we have to address in the LCAP. I won't read them. You can read them up there. But each one of those 8 priorities reflect the 3 items on the side: conditions of learning, engagement, and pupil outcomes. These are set by statute that we have to address in the LCAP. We have to identify metrics to measure our success in addressing these issues, and we have to create plans and goals to address these as well. When you look at the LCAP, it says there, it helps us to provide a story of how, what, and why we are choosing the program and services that we choose. It's follows a format of how it has to be outlined. There's a budget overview of the money we receive. There's a plan summary, how we engaged our educational partners in identifying our needs and creating our plan, the goals and actions that came out of that, how we increased or improved services for foster youth, English learners, and low-income students. And there's the different tables to show how we're using those funds, how we're allocating them, and then an update on what we did with the past LCAP. The LCAP is certified every 3 years. This is year 3 of our 3-year LCAP. Next year, when we come to the board, we'll have a brand new LCAP, and we will spend the format will look slightly different because we'll spend a little bit more time in how we created the goals and actions. They might continue, they may change. It would all depend on when we look at our data next year. We'll start in the fall, and I'll be sharing more information in the fall about the work that we'll be doing with that. So our budget for the LCAP, every district receives what's called the local control funding formula. That's when they changed the way districts were funded back in the mid-2010s. And as part of that, every district receives what's called base grant, which is just based on the number of students that you have. But then you receive funds called the supplemental and concentration funds. And this is for a group of students, the foster youth, students participating in the free and reduced lunch program, and English learners. And they call this group the unduplicated count students. So any student who qualifies as a member of one of those groups, districts receive extra money to supplement and support those students. And so that's the supplemental and concentration funds. You see on the budget overview, we received about 37, where's it at? There we go. $37,391,673 in supplemental concentration funds. And in our LCAP, we have to allocate those to increase and improve services specifically for those students. There's other funds that we use from the base grant for all students, but we have to show that we use that money in particular to support the needs of these students. Part of what we have to do when we talk about how we allocate those funds is there's a requirement in the LCAP, a process to engage educational partners. Some of the things we've done this year in order to engage our educational partners and identify what are the needs that they want to see met for our students and how do they want us to use these funds is through the annual LCAP survey, California Healthy Kids survey, the Los Banos operational survey. We conducted a large amount of focus group interviews with parents, certificated classified staff, students, and community members. We did specific interviews of both staff and students. And then we held public meetings as well to solicit input. And there's a section in the LCAP where there's a narrative about how their input had a direct effect on the LCAP and what are some of the changes we made as a result of that effect. Now, there's 4 goals in the Los Banos Unified School District LCAP. Each of these goals was developed 2 years ago as part of this process. And these goals, by statute, you have to keep them in place. You can't change your goal from year to year because it's a 3-year LCAP. So even if we identified and said, you know what, I think we might need to go a different route, you're locked in. Same thing with your metrics. When you decide at the first year of the 3-year LCAP and say, here's how we're going to measure the LCAP, we can't take away. We can add, but it takes almost an act of Congress to add anything. You have to go through a lot of hoops to do it and say, we think this is a better way to measure. They'll let you add another measurement, but you can't take anything away that you've already identified. And each of those metrics that you use have to address the 8 state priorities that we talked about earlier. So if you don't have anything in there measuring, for example, how you engaged your parents or your community, you have to put a metric in there to show that this is how we're doing it, and this is our goal, and here's the progress we're making for that. And you'll see that under each goal. You'll see that in the metrics on there. So this first goal, that Los Banos Unified School District will increase college and career readiness rates of English learners and students with disabilities by 15% by June 2024. This was an ambitious goal, very ambitious. We decided to go for it, shoot for the moon, and then COVID hit, and that's not an excuse. We still thought we could do it. And then we haven't had a college and career readiness rate for the last 2 years. So the stat that we were going to use to determine our overall success has not been available for us. We'll see it this December. We'll get our first college and career readiness rate in 3 years, and we'll be able to say, compared to prior to COVID, where we're at. And you'll be able to see that information when I do the dashboard update in December. But the actions that are in there are providing curriculum, professional development, instructional support, tutoring, parent engagement, summer programs, and counseling services, specifically to support our English learners and our students with disabilities district-wide. Our second goal is what is called a broad goal. The first goal is a focus goal. The second goal is an example of a broad goal. It's a goal where you say this is an overall need, but we're not going to dial down the specificity that you saw in the first goal. This goal is all about social and emotional learning and behavioral supports. Some of the actions in there were additional counselors, additional behavioral support providers, wellness counselors, social emotional learning programs, curriculum, professional development, mental health services, student attendance programs, counseling sports, and behavioral support specialists. And specifically some of the highlights of this, well, I'll get the highlights at the end, but the additional counselors that we have district-wide came out of this. We'll see it when we talk about additions to the LCAP. This year, we've added additional behavioral support specialists because that was something that our educational partners, especially our teachers, mentioned just the need for additional help in providing training and how to deal with student behaviors, and also additional help in supporting those students themselves. And we have 2 behavioral support specialists across the district, and in the LCAP, we're adding an additional 4 to bring to a total of 6 to support the different school sites. The third goal is another example of a broad goal. It's about creating a system of support really for academics. If you look at that, using that same metric I talked about earlier with graduation rate, there's about 70 districts across unified school districts across California that fit our demographics. We fall smack dab in the middle. For English language arts, we're number 36, and for mathematics, we're number 37. And so we're as my mom would say, we're lukewarm. So we're treading water, and that's not where we want to be. We want to be one of the leaders. And so this goal is about how do we support our students to be not only academically proficient, but also to excel. And so you see additional intervention support specialists, more professional development in instruction, aligning curriculum. We've been doing a lot of work of bringing our curriculum up to date and aligned with the California state standards. We just this year you approved new curriculum for English language arts in high school, as well as social studies K-12. Next year, we'll be piloting science curriculum, as well as high school or secondary mathematics and world languages. I think I'm missing one, but I can't remember what it is. So we are working hard to make sure that our curriculum is up to date and that our students and our teachers have the tools that they need in order to make sure our students have access to those state standards. Other actions in here are data assessment coordinator coordinator of assessment, progress monitoring, PLCs, our summer programs. We're adding additional elementary music teachers. That's one that came out of our public meetings. Specifically, our DLAC our members of our DLAC felt very strongly that we needed to expand our our arts offering, and by arts, visual and performing arts offerings at an earlier age. And while we have our music teachers who do just a tremendous effort across the district now, but they're split between so many sites that we have some work going on at the junior highs and the high schools, and they also split into the elementaries. And so the idea behind this is that we can allow teachers to really focus on the needs of their program at their site, and then have elementary teachers that can provide continuum of service for music offerings, and that we hope in the future to be able to add in some additional support for arts, coding, things like that. We also have we've provided additional funds for supplies for the visual and performing arts across the district. And the last goal is what's called a maintenance goal. The statute allows you to have a goal that I call it the keeping the lights on goal. It's the one that says we are going to provide facilities, we'll provide safe campuses. Basically, we'll provide the conditions to support student learning. And so that covers support for our CTE programs, health services, security, transportation, STEM programs, sixth grade camp. We've added, because we've added additional PLC days, providing some compensation for that. We're going to provide additional STEM labs. We used some of the COVID relief funds to provide STEM labs at 3 of our elementary sites. Because when we're setting it up, that's what they asked for, and we had funds available, and we decided to do it. We've heard feedback we've received from parents and from students and from our schools has been nothing but positive for being able to have expose students to opportunities to use those STEM labs, have hands-on learning experiences. So we're expanding that to all of our elementary campuses that can accommodate them, and the ones that can't, we'll be working to come up with a plan of how we can. So some of the highlights from the LCAP is continued support for our parent workshops in CABE. You heard from DLAC the last board meeting, that great video that they created to share some of the great things that they learned at CABE. We're going to continue to support parent engagement and that. Our parents have also asked, I should have noted it on there, but I forgot to. Our parents have also asked for additional, I did put there, okay, never mind. Our parents asked for additional parent workshops to help them with just any number of things. They just said that our kids have so many needs, we need better support to know how to support them. And so they're asking us to provide other opportunities for them. So we'll be expanding those programs across the district and looking at different times and at different locations that we can offer those programs to support our parents, to support their students. We are providing summer counseling services. It came out of the public meetings last year that there is a desire expressed to help graduates because it's called Summer Melt. You have students who are accepted to college, that are excited for college, that graduate high school and never enroll. Because for those students who, and it's a significant portion, if Ms. Moran was here, she could probably speak to it better than I can, but you speak to representatives from Merced College or from UC Merced or Fresno State or CSU Stan, they will all note how that many of the students that they offer acceptance letters to never come to campus. And part of it is just because navigating bureaucracy of entering a school, of buying your books, of enrolling your classes, of trying to get housing, just all that. So we're providing counselors during summer school that will assist not only the students, but be available for our recent graduates and our not so recent graduates to come back and get help, because not every family has family that knows how to navigate the system. When I talked with some of our recent graduates, the ones who were successful, many of them told me that they had basically an advocate in their family. They had either a mother or usually there's an older sibling that had already gone through it and were able to help them, or they had a trusted family or a family friend that helped to take them through it. And not everyone has that, so we're providing counselors to help support our students to do that this summer. We also, some of the other ones we talked about already, additional counselors, the mental health clinicians. We've contracted with Sierra Vista to provide 10 mental health clinicians across the district. As with every industry, it's hard to find people, so we haven't filled all 10 positions, but I just got word we got another one this week that we just placed at one of the elementary schools. We should have, they were training another clinician right now that we'll be placing at another elementary school as soon as they're done with their training. And they work all year. So during the summer, they still have a group of students that they're following and supporting and working with their families. And by being a contracted service, they can do some things that we can't. And they also can provide a level of service that we can't because of their licensure. And so that's one of the reasons why we went with them, in addition to support we already provide through our own counseling services. I already talked about behavioral support specialists. There's a lot of discussion both in the focus groups and in our surveys about just the need for additional support in terms of school safety, student behavior, addressing student behavior, and also being more preventative rather than reactive. And so we are continuing to invest in PBIS and restorative practices and PLCs. PLCs, we've spent a lot of time on that. We're at a place right now where I talk a lot about how it's one of those foundational pieces. It's about providing the language and providing the structure to be able to have those hard conversations and be able to also evaluate our own efforts and what kind of effect we're having on students. We've spent the last couple of years developing a baseline knowledge of it, and this next year I expect to start taking some leaps forward because we'll be able to apply that knowledge, and we'll start to see amongst the different schools, we'll start to see some of the effects of that. Where I talked about curriculum adoption, music, okay. And so those are the highlights of the LCAP. Questions?
Okay.
You have
Lori.
more? Okay. Just a couple of questions. I know, the 103-page document.
Oh, it's
so-
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, but, just quick questions.
Yes.
On the restorative practices, I know we're approved, well, it's on the consent agenda tonight for 3 schools for the Restorative Justice League.
Mhm.
Is there more schools that are working on restorative practices?
Yes. It's that, because those restorative practices, and Mr. Verdus will talk more about that when he comes and speaks to that, but that is through a grant, the SB HIP grant, and that there are specific, part of that work was focused on those specific schools. And so the contract is to really support those schools in developing it. We're looking at that as a pilot for addressing across the district. And we're looking as well as, we're looking in terms of, is this something that's a standalone, or do we need to have more of a structure around it, kind of like PBIS?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're taking a look right now of basically, we don't really have a standard operating procedure across the district and how we address different issues. And so we're looking at each school's kind of taking a look, but we're looking at how we're evaluating it, and we're going to determine really what is the best movement forward and make it a little more standardized across the district. You have other schools, for example, like Los Banos Junior High School, who have been using restorative practices for a while. And they've had great success with that. We have other schools like Henry Miller and Mercy Springs that have been all in on PBIS for a while. And just this year, the principal of Mercy Springs was sharing with us that they've now gone full Tier 1 through Tier 3 implementation of PBIS. And so we're seeing some results with that. And so as we take a hard look this next year and evaluate where we're at with those programs, we'll be bringing some more work toward the board for approval.
Well, PBIS and restorative practices are a great combination.
They go hand in
Yes,
hand.
they
There's
do.
it doesn't have to be
Absolutely go
either
hand
or.
in hand. So, and you're adding a coordinator position?
That's correct.
Okay. And then also just a quick note, I see that you have CTE programs, of course, in one of your goals, and I'm just such a proponent for CTE. And
Oh, we are too.
I hope that, I would love to see it grow.
That is the goal. We had Dr. Horton and I had high hopes this year to really see what we can do about tacking on and spending some time of adding additional CTE courses. We've been talking about it, but I won't use an excuse, but we had a lot of student behavior issues this year that got in the way, and so it's still on the docket, and that's one of our goals to address this summer is how can we bring more CTE course offerings and more pathways for our students across our schools.
Absolutely. And CT helps sometimes with behavioral
Yes,
as
it
well.
does.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Keep going. Dana.
Thank you for spending 2 hours with me yesterday going through this.
It was my pleasure.
It's a big document, and I wanted to really understand it because the LCAP is the driving force behind what we do. So for me to understand what we're doing as a district was crucial. And I know you didn't mention, which I think was really important, that because I didn't realize we were adding more mental health people. We have a health person and an academic, mental health and academic counselor at every site, correct?
Wellness counselor, and at the elementaries, we have two counselors. We have one that's focused on academics, one that's focused on wellness.
So are we adding to those?
What I was talking about with the mental health clinician is a separate service. That's a contracted service with Sierra Vista.
Okay, so that's something different.
Yeah, so that's going outside of the district. Rather than hiring our own employees, we're contracting with the Sierra Vista Health Services to bring in those services to our students, which if you look at from an MTSS model, these would be tier 3 services, whereas our counselors are really ideally suited to provide tier 1 and tier 2 services.
Okay, and what you didn't mention, which I think is very powerful, is now you guys are providing training to your wellness counselors and your academic counselors to bring them all on the same page, which I think is a really positive thing. And they all need to have a common goal and do more in the classroom and less pull out. I mean, we talked about this. They're just adding more professional development for them so they can be better at their job and support more students.
In my defense, I've been told that I'm too wordy and I have to be briefer, so I'm trying to follow that tonight.
And the music teachers are going to be at the elementary?
Yes.
And is it not just going to be musical instruments, right? It's
Oh,
going to
no,
be
no, no. When you talk elementary music, and Anthony could probably speak to this for hours, but when you're talking elementary music, when you start in the primary grades, it's not instruments, it's more about just musical theory and the application and just the joy of it. And then you transition into voice, into instruments in the upper grades.
One more question. I
Yes.
know that whole document has money tied to everything.
Yes.
So now, once we approve it, you don't have to come back. We don't come back and approve all your expenditures?
No. So it's tied into the LCAP. If there's any major contract, we bring to the board as a matter of course. So we have a contract of, I can't remember I'll have to ask Tina, but whatever things over $5,000 we bring to the board, and for approval.
Even
for
if
that.
it's in the LCAP?
Even if it's in the LCAP.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering, because I know we approve a lot of budget things, and I'm always wondering, but on the bottom, it'll say tied to the LCAP.
Paid by LCAP,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's it.
All right. Any other questions? All right. With that, we are going to open the public hearing on the LCAP and let anybody here tonight who wishes to make a comment on the LCAP, now's the time to do it. 8:29. All right, seeing no one come forward, we're going to close the public hearing at 8:30. Thank you, Dr. Ritchie. Next item is the 23-24 budget. Hi, Alejandra.
Hi, good evening, board members. It is that time of year where we start building our next year's budget. This presentation will contain the details from the May revise that we were given on May 19th, and it gives us a future a lookout for the projections for the future. So as you can see, June is our budget presentation, is our public hearing. What I gathered from the May revise and what we expensed this year, I contacted several principals, reviewed their budgets to see I could build up the budget for next year. We want to go over the budget certifications. We have to do multi-year projections and make sure the district certifies either positive, qualify, or negative. And this is a common practice we do for our first, second interim, unaudited actuals, and even for budget development. So let's start summarizing what we had for the May revise. Governor Newsom May revision highlights the volatile nature of California state revenues due to its progressive tax system. So there is some budget deficit going on with the state. However, the district will be submitting the adopted budget as a positive certification because the governor's May revise included an 8.2 cost of living adjustment and an increase to the LCFF funding. But there's offsets to that. He is decreasing the Proposition 98 minimum guarantee. He's reducing the arts and music and instructional materials discretionary grant. He is reducing the learning recovery emergency grant. That's about 32%, looking about $7 million he's taking away from us. The May revision is relying on a $2.8 billion in one-time Proposition 98 general funds to support his COLA. So he's using one-time funds to be able to maintain that COLA and reducing other programs to make sure we could get that COLA for the districts as he promised. There is some implications to that. We will see our CONAPS, which is our title funding, federal funding. We're going to be submitting the report soon. The winter's reporting got delayed until summer, and we'll see the implications of his budget decisions of how much restricted funds is going to be affecting. And that's going to be contributing to these programs because he's reducing one side, but he's giving us on the other. So we'll be able to see what that looks like. Governor Newsom's proposed a $3.5 million ongoing to increase the allocation for our secondary schools to maintain at least 2 doses of naloxone hydrochloride, to reverse the opioid overdose. So what's going to look different this time, instead of us having to set that up, the county of Merced County is going to provide those tools. So I'm going to be reaching out with them and making sure our secondaries are set up for the next fiscal year. The next one's Proposition 28. I know many board members have received questions regarding Proposition 28, which is requiring the districts to allocate 1% of the of our TK to 12 funds to arts and music instructions. So there has been projections of what we're going to get. So far, you probably see articles at Source about this, but this is straight from the California Governor Newsom's plan. And in his May revision, he recommends districts to exercise caution in planning for the expenditures for these funds, as the level of funding is not yet known, and some of the proposition's key provisions lack clarity, including the restriction on supplementing and the requirement to use 80% of funding for employees. Districts will be given 3 years to spend each year's allocation funds. So they're just telling us, hold up, wait, don't plan anything yet until we give you instructions. So we keep checking California Department of Education website to see what information's out there. And then we'll keep you guys informed, as well as the principals, because they're probably getting questions about this. Hey, we're getting this, what can I hire, what can I buy, and all that stuff. Once they have confirmed and they gave us all a list of what you can and can't do, we'll share that with you guys. People are worried that we're not going to submit a plan on time. We don't have to worry about that right now. They're telling us to wait. Just wait until they finish planning that out, and then they'll give us time to spend the 23 and 24 allocation. So here's a summary of our projections for 23-24. We are projecting to have a beginning balance of $15 million. The revenue is about $141 million, includes that COLA of 8.22, and that's an increase. Our expenditures about 139. We do have some obligations from the fund balance. So that 18 million is obligated to We are required to keep that reserve level at 6.5 million that we must maintain. We have committed funds, as we mentioned before, in second interim for LCAP and TK, and then it leaves us with that payroll reserves of 7.7 million. Throughout the year, we've given an increase in our salary schedules, and our regular monthly payroll that used to be 6 million is no longer 6.5 or 6.8 right now. What I signed off recently is about 7.2, 7.3 of our monthly payroll, meaning I have to have cash in the bank to be able to process our payroll monthly, and we don't get all our funding at once. I'm probably going to get some of our last allocation in July, August for this time period. So I have to maintain some money there to maintain our operation. So we have set up about 7.7 million for our projections for next year. This is a visual of where our funds are getting expensed for the unrestricted side of the house. About 55 million in our certificated salaries classified, 17 million, benefits about 36 million, books and supplies 8 million, services 15 million, and capital outlay about the 139 as I mentioned. Salaries and statutory health benefits equal about 109 million, which is about 79% of our unrestricted budget. On the restricted side, which includes a lot of the one-time funding, learning loss, COVID, ESSER funds, this shows where we have budgeted. We are expecting to have some carryover from fiscal year 22-23 into 23-24. So you'll see some updates and increases in first interim showing what we actually end up spending. What I have presented is more of projections, what I think we're going to have for carryover, but I know many principals and many sites have been expensing some of the allocation so far, and when I present this, it's based on what I have at that moment, so it'll make some changes in first interim. Salaries and statutory health benefits for the restricted side of the house is about 36 million. And restricted funds are to be spent accordingly to state and federal guidelines, meaning I have to maintain those funds if I don't spend it this year. They usually have provided an extension, for example, the ELOPE funds for SAC, the after-school program. He had to spend $1 million by June 30th, which he was working very hard to get it done, and it was constant following up. Hey, how's it going? Great thing on May 19, we found out they gave us an extension to December, to the end of next year. So December calendar year, I'm sorry. So it's constantly working with the sites, making sure we're spending it on the categories we're supposed to and following through, because I don't want to give this money back. I know it's restricted, but let's spend it to those programs that need it. So these are our district mandatory financial obligations that many people really don't see unless they look at their pay stubs. We're obligated to pay into these different types of statutory benefits, which we refer to CalSTRS for retirement, CalPERS for classifying, CalSTRS for certificated. For the health insurance, we do have the CBT and CISC. I know we just settled at $24,000 for the beginning of next year, and that helped me build up a budget to see how much the cost for the district was and help me project out. Social Security, about the same rate. Medicare, same. Unemployment rate. Good thing this went down because we were looking at million. It increased from $1 million from 30,000 to $1 million 1 year because of COVID and everybody applying for unemployment. So we saw this number go down, so it's nice to see it go back to normal and our unemployment claims reduced now. Workers' comp is about the same. The reflection of the health benefits section only, it's an ongoing financial obligation of the past 2 years. So that just gives you a visual what it's costing this district ongoing, but up to that cap. So when I built my multi-year projections, I built it with a flat enrollment of 11,000. That's what we have currently right now, 11,001, and our ADA at 10,053. This helps us be conservative. That way we don't put more than what we think we're going to get. So far, that's what the data have shown. We have to be conservative. We haven't seen an increase in students. I know we see houses, but we haven't seen families yet. The multi-year also includes our school services information with the COLA and the Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index is what we project out for our goods and services. That's like for inflation, the cost of goods, everything increases. We know what we paid last year is not going to be the same for next year. We see that with our own budgets at home. The multi-year also includes our step and column, the salary increase of 22-23, and stirs and PERS, health welfare increases, and with that cap. The MYP also includes the new hires for the dual immersion program. We did have to increase one of our certificated general ed teachers, and one I think we had grasslands because it was getting larger and we needed another teacher. And then we've increased our 5 behavioral support aides. Negotiations for 23-24 have not commenced at this time. Here's a visual of our multi-year projection. As you can see, the COLA on top, we're projecting at 8.22. The other years, we're looking at 3.94 and then 3.29. Our contribution to restricted programs are in orange. As you can see, we still continue to increase to programs. We'll see what happens in once the governor, there is time for budget changes. The governor, once he finalizes and signs, if there is a drastic change, then I'll present it's called a 45-day revise once he has signs. What he proposed in his government plan is what he thinks, but I know I've seen it change and I've been here with years that it does change. I haven't seen how it's going to affect these federal programs yet and how much more we're going to have to contribute in order to sustain them because of him cutting back other programs to provide that COLA. So we'll provide an update as we get more information, and first interim we'll have more of that reflection. As you can see here, the payroll reserves, this is about 7.7 million. This is about close to one payroll month. So I'm there. I'm keeping there within that range. That way I meet my monthly payroll obligations. We do meet that district overall percentage of maintaining under that 10%. So we've been maintaining our budget, our fund balances under that 10%. And we continue to commit those 3% required to be left alone. So for our final synopsis of our budget development, although the May revise fully funds the statutory COLA and avoids cuts to ongoing education programs unrestricted, because the restricted side is separate, LBUSD is aware of the estimate $31.5 billion state budget deficit for the 23-24. It's known they don't have money and they're trying to make it work right now. The May revision proposes to address this deficit through delays, pullbacks, reduction. We got part of the learning recovery grant. We probably got about close to $10 million. And we don't know if they're going to ask for some of it back yet. We're just going to leave it alone and see what the state wants. How much are they truly going to cut back? Because we have an idea that it's coming. He is reducing the school facilities funding delay. So we were supposed to get money for facilities. Now that's delay. And all the other programs, as I mentioned in the beginning, that he's pulling back. The current state revenues forecast only assume a slower economic growth. However, many economists believe that the mild recession will occur in 23 or 2024. As a result, there is a risk of further state revenue shortfalls that could result in additional cuts in education spending. The district yet has not recovered full enrollment as we would have before COVID. We're hoping to get there eventually, hopefully in the next year, but it looks like we're just going to maintain flat. We know that the pandemic affects all districts in California, even the state has announced that in their May rise. Cost of special education, transportation continues to increase, but moreover, LBUSD is projected to meet all its financial obligations in the multi-year projection as presented, and with the support of one-time federal funds, state funds, and that increase in COLA. Any questions?
I have a few. All my little blue tabs. This is from the budget book, which is
Like
this
over
thick.
100 pages too.
Yeah. There was a 2.8 billion one-time Prop 98 money. Was that part of the 8.22% COLA?
It's not part of that. It's part of their general fund that they're pulling out of to make it happen. So they have their general fund balance and then they have their reserve levels. And he's the governor, he's able to pull some of that money to make that 8.2 COLA. Department of Finance recommended to go down. He went against the recommendation. Other economics also told him, but he went against it because the state doesn't have that money to provide it. So you pull from this bucket to be able to give it to the public because that's what he promised. But it's going to have an implication in other programs, and I could see that. And the recommendation, I think, from Department of Finance, we're literally looking at a six point something, and he went against that.
So I guess the bottom line here is the 8.2, all of the 8.22 ongoing funding,
According to him, yes, so far.
even
yes.
though they're pulling back 2.8 billion.
Well, we're going to have to make
Interesting.
up the other programs with contributing to them because we're committed with jobs and we already have employees. We can't pull back those employees. So once we see the effect of these restricted programs that he's pulling from, then we'll be able to share an update on that. So I hope there's not such a big difference in the 45-day revise when he does present something in July, and we'll know mid-July. But so far, I could see implication using one-time funding for the multi-year projection. So probably the second year out or so.
Focus,
know.
focus. So, in the narrative of the budget, you said that the unrestricted funds and salaries for employees make up 78% of the district's budget. Now, that doesn't include any ESSER money, is that correct?
Correct.
So that's just,
Just the regular, it includes the LCAP employees under the LCAP, EPA, and that's where majority of our employees, and then our general fund.
okay. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. 2 pages on here. On the page in which you gave us multi-year projection assumptions, so 23, 24, obviously, I didn't have any questions of that, but when we get into 24, 25, it says your item number 5 is you're projecting no hiring for this fiscal year which is 24, 25. So we have a plethora of positions that we added with ESSER funds.
Correct.
So are we saying those are all going away?
If funding's not available, that's what it looks like so far.
Because I mean, we have a lot of
Yeah.
positions
All of
that
those
are
are
funded
restricted.
by ESSER funds, so
Correct.
we are not going to replace those people.
According
According to what you have here.
Correct. If we don't have the funding for it, and if he's cutting back already, we know that some of that money's not coming. So
'Cause, I mean,
that's what.
they're all hired as temporary positions.
Yes, correct.
And I'm sure what happens when you have a temporary position, everybody hopes that they will continue.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that's not going to happen. But I do have one question, is the fact that in 24, 25, we're going to have to add at least two positions at the elementary level for our dual immersion. Because
Yes.
that's changing.
Yes,
So
that's growing. Okay, yes.
I think that probably you need to include those.
we'll update that one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because, and the following year also, same thing, no hiring projections for 25, 26, but we are going to be hiring another
The
couple
dual-
of people unless they, for the dual immersion program. What are you looking?
Well, because they're already here. Our students are already here. It's just transferring them to there. So I
But-
don't know why that's hiring people.
The teachers don't follow them, right?
Right.
My understanding, then you'll hire another teacher to teach that grade, and then they'll take new kinders in, if that's correct.
But I'm saying it's not adding a position. It's just taking students like from this second grade, making a new second grade.
No, it's new kinders. We're hiring we're getting kinders. So we have to hire 2 teachers.
And we did that this year.
Right.
But you said next year.
No, we will be.
I can answer that question for you. So this year, when we forecasted, added the 4 teachers for the DLI program, when we did our staffing ratios, we reduced classroom teachers at different school sites this year. So there was a couple of positions this year due to less students at Henry Miller. Those positions, we had 2 positions we didn't refill. We also had one at Lorena Velasco. And so as we address these numbers each year and our staffing meetings going into for next year, we look at where the kids are at. And like Ms. Valadeo was saying, is that we're moving those things around and it's just a transfer of kids. Could there be a potential position in the future, above and beyond if we get more kids? Yes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking, as we expand the program, and if the district is growing, we're going to be adding.
If it grows, yes.
Yeah. I'm looking at our budget, and we had we're deficit spending.
We spent more money than we're getting, and a
Yeah.
lot of it contributes to the carryover that I have to show for, so how carryover happens, and when we show it in our unaudited actuals, is we receive the money already. It's in our fund balance, and when I show in expenditures for the next year, it's going to show more expenditure than actual revenue that I'm getting because of carryover, the one-time funds, restricted programs. Some of that carryover gets into the next year, and you'll see our expenditures much higher. Once these ESSER learning loss funds eventually will have to rebalance the budget because those employees will no longer be there and reevaluate on a restricted side of what's going to be ongoing for the district.
But when I'm looking at this, and for the 23-24 budget, if we didn't have any carryover, we would not be able to meet
Yes.
even our reserve requirement of 3%.
It will consume it. So that.
So without carryover,
And without that, once the carryover, we're hoping those one-time expenditures, we're looking at removing them as we evaluate them each year, because they're not ongoing obligations.
so we're deficit spending, and if we don't have carryover,
Correct.
we're in a world of hurt.
Yes, and once we find out what Governor Newsom is doing, we'll get you a better picture on that.
That's not fun.
No.
That's scary.
Yes.
Because if we don't have carryover each year, we're not going to be able to meet our obligations for the following years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Not good. And I'm looking at a net decrease for 23-24 of 25 million
Sorry?
in the restricted funds. I'm sorry. Now we're talking about restricted funds.
Okay.
So we're spending $25 million more than we're getting in restricted funds.
Because of the balances we have.
Mhm.
Yes. And now that he's cutting more, we'll see that how much is reduced. But I budgeted those areas in the areas where they're supposed to be spent. It doesn't mean that it's going to be spent in the 4s or in the 5s. It could go to training for teachers and sub time for all of that stuff. But we budgeted accordingly how normally we spent this year in those categories, and you could see the expenditures being much higher.
Yeah, $25 million. So I'm looking at, we started this year in restricted funds with a carryover of 29 million. We're going to end the year with 3.9 million that we're going to start next year with 24-25.
Yes. And that's for
So we
one of my
started-
other programs that I have, but one of my ESSER funds that it's getting ongoing carried over that I'm splitting, assuming that we don't spend it next year. That's what I'm taking.
So the $25 million more that we're spending, if we didn't have carryover, that would be coming out of the general fund.
Contribution, correct.
Out of the general fund. So the following year, 24-25, our carryover is projected to be 3.9, almost $4 million. That's not going to be able to. We're going to be putting in a large amount of general fund money into that.
That's what you
unrestricted.
mentioned about the employees. We're not going to be able to keep them because they're funded through those programs. Yeah.
That's scary. I was just looking at this, and I was just looking at these numbers, and I'm thinking, this doesn't look good for future years without any carryover, and it seems our carryover is disappearing.
Yeah, we keep using it. Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else have
other
any questions?
Yes.
Well, Lori was first. Go ahead, Lori.
No, it's okay. I just was going to make the comment. So you're developing your budget on a flat ADA as well.
Correct.
Right, over the 3 years. So,
If we do see
maybe-
growth, more money,
yeah, or
you'll see revenue.
attendance is picked up or
Yes,
something, we
yeah.
might be able to recoup some of that
We-
ADA. It's not going to be Right, it's not gonna, well, it could be, but it's not gonna be what Anthony's referring to, but at least, again,
would-
it's just on flat ADA as well, so.
We would want to see that increase most, and a lot of it is the unduplicated pupil count that Sean mentioned earlier. We did see it increase this fiscal year. We went up to 8912, and we were as low as 65 last year, which that's brought us up close to $4 million. So if we get those alternative.
lunch form, well, they used to be called lunch
Yes.
forms, but they're called something else now, yes.
Well, we're
If
gonna
you
be
get
working
that-
very
that
closely.
percentage up would be a
If
great
that
thing.
number goes up high again, like we're close to that, if we get to the 82, 85%, that's probably $6, $8 million that we didn't have, and continue that practice. So we'll work closely with the school sites to make sure we start as early as July and get those
Absolutely.
forms and try to,
And not just have somebody help them.
no,
right?
we'll, hands-on,
Right.
hands-on, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana?
So now I'm worried. Just heard the LCAP, and there's program specialist, a coordinator, 2 music teachers, and 4 more.
They're budgeted in.
They are. I was going to ask
Yes.
you, are they budgeted in there?
Yes.
So it's like, why are we hiring people if we may not have the money to?
The budget,
support them?
it takes, it's built in that 37 million in my budget for them.
Oh, the other thing I was going to ask, I was curious about when I was looking through that. There's CISC and there's CVT, the health insurance. And I noticed that CISC has gone up 2 years in a row and CVT hasn't.
Correct.
Is it still cost effective for us to be using CISC?
That's something we will work with our bargaining group, CSEA, to review other options and provide those options to them, because it includes bargaining that and coming into agreement with them. But we could provide that information to them.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you. Well, we are now going to open the public hearing on the budget. Is there anybody who has comments on the budget, opening at 8:57? Anybody would like to have a word? Come forward. Seeing no one come forward, we are going to close the public hearing at 8:57. And both these items, the LCAP and the budget, we will be voting on at a special meeting next Thursday at 5 o'clock at the district office. So those 2 items will come back to us after a week of digesting everything we've heard tonight. All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm still here for the next one.
All right. She's up next again. Item C, Education Protection Accounts. Alejandra.
Okay, this is what we refer to our EPA. It's recommended the board adopt resolution 16/23 as required by legislation that establishes that EPA account. What that means is out of our LCFF funding, there is a portion of that we have to spend it on teachers. And it's providing a different resource, and this is showing you that this is how much we're gonna allocate as required by state law, that 30 I think it was $32 million. And we spend more than that, but this is what the state requires, and we provide this every year, and we put it on the website as a public notice as well, and it's just something we commonly do.
All right. Any questions? Need a motion, please, to adopt? 16. All right, so we have a motion by member Valadeo, seconded by member Gattuso, to adopt resolution 1623. Tina, it's a roll call, please.
Ms. Gattuso? Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran? Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Valadeo? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. On to item D, authorized signature resolution 1329.
It is recommended the board adopt the resolution 1323.
1323, sorry.
Okay.
I can't, now I'm reading it wrong.
Authorizing our superintendent, Dr. Marshall, to sign on behalf on the governing board.
Right. Questions, comments? No? All right. Need a motion to adopt resolution 13-23. We We got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Mr. Lieb to adopt Resolution 1323. Tina, roll call, please.
Ms. Gattuso? Yes. Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran? Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Valadao? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina. On to item E, Level 2 Developer Fee, Resolution 14-23. Amir.
This is an annual operational item. The school facility need analysis suggests that the fee for level 2 and level 3 be increased by $9.90 to $10.48. Staff is requesting for the board to approve or pass the resolution.
All right, any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing at 9:01. Anybody here to comment on the level 2 developer fee resolution? All right, seeing no one come forward, we're going to close the public hearing at 9:01. Need a motion, please? We got a motion by Member Smith, seconded by Member Valadao, to adopt Resolution 14-23. Tina, roll call, please.
Ms. Gattuso? Yes. Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran? Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Valadao? Yes. Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item F, School Plans for Student Achievement. Mr. Sowersby.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, bring before the School Plans for Student Achievement, also known as SIPSAs, to all the site administrators. Everybody loves doing these things. It's back for the annual approval, and I'm sure several of you had the pleasure of reading the multiple documents. It's well over 1,000 pages, and so we're asking for your approval tonight for this upcoming year.
It's a great document to help you go to sleep at night.
Yes.
Any comments or questions? All right. Well, Dana.
I tried my best to read through them. I know how much work go into them, and I really wanted to read them, but I got them 2 days ago, so it was like trying to read through them, and I know how important they are, and I promise you I'm going to read every one because that's what you're doing to. No, I do. I want to know what you're doing at your school sites. And I know the work that goes into them, so I just wanted to apologize that I did not have a chance to read through all of them, and I will.
All right, Lori?
So I'm going to kind of the same thing. I would have liked them a little bit earlier just to be able to review them. I've written lots of SIPSAs. I know they're not the most fun thing, but you do have some information in them that we definitely would like to review. So maybe in the future, if we could get them a little bit earlier, I would really appreciate it.
Duly noted. We'll move up our timelines for our administrators and when they're due.
Oh, God, now they're all going to kill me for that one.
Well,
Thanks.
in order to get
Thanks,
them
Eric.
to you in a timely fashion, we have to set timelines. They do for their school site councils and their chair
Right.
people to sign and vote. So it's a very lengthy process, but we'll adjust our timelines so you have more than a few days. Because I understand going through these myself, they're very long documents.
Right. I mean, we do take it seriously that we are voting on, and the time has been put in. And so we want to, honor that as well by having the time to review it.
And just to piggyback on all of them, we got the LCAP, SIPSA, and the budget,
2 days before.
and it was like a lot. So,
yeah.
So maybe even the LCAP a little sooner too. I mean, it's pretty. No, that kind of, and the budget too is like, it's like a lot to read. All right. Any other comments?
I'd just like to say that my employer, mine at work, I repeated my work.
You did go to work?
8 hours. 8 hours.
Slow day at work, huh? All
I'll be
right.
sleeping. Slow day at work.
All right. Any other comments? That won't get anybody in trouble. All right. Need a motion, please? We got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Lieb, to approve the school plans for student achievement. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it carries unanimously. All right. Next up is change order request number 3 for the additional classroom wing at Pacheco High School.
Yes, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve contract change order. This is a credit change order, number 3 with Harris Builders, Inc. for the construction of the new classroom wing at Pacheco High School. As we were reconciling the contract, we found this credit change order hadn't been brought before the board, so.
We like change orders where we get money
We
back
get money
rather than have
back,
to pay.
yeah.
Although the next one isn't that. Wait, what? I need a motion, or any questions or comments? I need a motion, please. We got a motion by Member Gattuso, seconded by Member Munoz, to approve the change order request number 3, additional classroom wing at Pacheco High School. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it is carried. On item H, change order requests number 4 and 5 for the Lofton Stadium Phase 1 project.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve contract change order number 4 and number 5 with BMY Construction Group Incorporated for the construction of Lofton Stadium, new concessions, restroom, and athletic team buildings. As you can see, there was a list of different costs for different reasons. And some time extensions.
There goes all the money we got back from the other one. Plus, double.
Plus.
All right, any comments or questions? So they have time extensions. Did they give you any idea of when the project could be completed?
So, with these change orders that are being approved, if you approve these tonight, that puts us to July 9th. However, I know of some additional work that I'll probably be bringing next board meeting, and that work is asking for 15 more work days. So if that is approved, we have an end construction date of August 1st. So Mr. Barcelos was out at the site with me this morning. We discussed that, and Mr. Waltman. We feel like that they seem to be okay with that as far as giving them enough time to get ready for their first game, which I think is August 17th or something like that. So.
Cutting it close.
So it's cutting it close, but I've kind of let them know there's no more weather delays, obviously. So it's just these additional change orders if they feel like they need extra days to do that. So I've kind of let them know that we're at the limit. We can't go any further without impacting the school site and what they need to do.
Right.
So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. Thank you. Other questions and concerns? Ms. Gattuso.
The fence had to be restaked. What was the fence?
So that was not part of the original scope of work, and the surveyors did not actually stake that. And so with us doing work there were so many questions regarding the property line when I dealt with the neighbors. They were under the impression some of that land was there. So I needed to have a definite line before I could say, this is the line, this is your property, this is our fence, that is your stuff that you need to deal with, that's on our property. So there was just there's a lot of like trees and shrubs because the fence and the property line aren't at the same location. So those neighbors have growth that we have to remove. And so I needed to know exactly where that line was. And that wasn't part of the original scope of work. And so when they surveyed the rest of it, they didn't include that. And just with that legal agreement, though it was just very important to know where that line was.
This is behind the north side.
It's on behind the visitor side.
Yeah.
South side, I mean.
South side, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Need a motion, please?
Go ahead, move.
Got a motion by Mr. Munoz, seconded by Ms. Gattuso, to approve the change order request number 4 and 5 for the Lofton Stadium Phase 1 project. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it is carried unanimously. On to item I, Blair Church and Flynn Professional Services Agreement amended for the LBE parking lot.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement between Blair Church and Flynn and Los Banos Unified School District for the Los Banos Elementary School Parking Lot Improvements Project. They were, the engineer was in the middle of doing the design, and us as a district requested some additional scope of work, and so that's why we're needing, and the city of Los Banos has a post-construction stormwater low-impact improvements regulation that was just approved in December. So Blair Church and Flynn had already started working on the plans and did not include that in their scope of work when they originally proposed to us their professional services agreement. The electric gate was not requested originally either. So like when the project was first presented to them, just kind of discussion, they came with a proposal. And then once we actually started kind of designing the project, then with the school, we decided that there needed to be an electric gate there for security reasons.
Any other questions? Ms. Valadao?
So is that gate going to be open during the day and then closed at, I mean, it's the electric gate, I'm thinking of the parking lot behind the school, right?
So yes, it's the current gravel parking
So
lot.
I mean, our teacher's going to have a,
So no, I'm assuming like the custodian will go over, open the gate like he does now, because there's a gate there now. It's
Okay.
just he literally has to go over and open it and close it.
so it'll be open during the, because
It would
parents
be-
come and pick up kids there too, right?
Parents
Yeah.
come through there and pick up the kids, and staff would be coming and going. Our IS department is in there; they're
Right.
going to be coming and going. So it's more probably security at night to secure that.
Any other questions? Motion? All right, we got a motion by Ms. Valadao, seconded by Mr. Munoz, to approve the Blair Church and Flynn Agreement Amendment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. All right, on to item J, the Los Banos Unified School District California State Preschool Program Self-Evaluation Annual Report. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, board. So this is a report that I have to do annually. It's basically just kind of my report card. I go through and I put everything in there that we have to do every year to make sure that we're in compliance with the preschool program. Part of that is representing it to you guys. So that's why I'm here for any questions that you might have, any input, anything like that.
All right. We all read it, I'm sure. Any questions?
It wasn't as big as the rest.
It's not, it wasn't as big as the other one. Thank you for that. It wasn't 500 pages long. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was well done. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Any, no other questions? No comments?
I did have a comment.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you. Your program is just awesome, going to Henry Miller. I watched West Sides all the time. I just want to acknowledge the great job your department's doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We work really, really hard to get where we're at. So we keep pushing forward. Thank you.
And keep inviting us to read, because I love reading to those kids. They are just so fun to read to.
Yes, and I have to apologize because I forgot to send you the email, Marlene. So next year you are on my list to send you the email. I'm so sorry about that. But yes, I will continue to invite you to read because the kids love it. They really, really do.
And
They
they're
enjoy
fun.
it a lot.
They're fun.
Yes. Oh, there you go. All right.
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you. That is a non-action item, so that was just a report to the board. Item K, change to the approved 23-24 school calendars. We voted on the school calendars in in January, as per contract. And when we voted on them, we also made a note that they would be coming back to us because negotiations hadn't been settled and there was some questions about additional PLC days, professional learning days. And contract was finally settled and agreed on and signed, and we voted on the contract last month. So with that, we had to add the additional PLC days. So now we have 14 PLC days for all of our schools in the community. So what you see before you tonight is the revised calendars with the additional PLC days. And we had to put in the elementary, went blank, elementary teacher prep days and grade level preparation days and stuff. So all those are ready to go. Any questions? Seeing none, need a motion, please? We got a motion by Ms. Gattuso, seconded by Mr. Lieb, to approve the change to the approved 23-24 school calendars. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's carried. Note to the principals out there, the calendars will go to the individual site specific calendars will go to Lisa tomorrow afternoon, and as soon as she can get them posted, you can download the calendars for your specific grade level sites. So hopefully, I don't know if she's going to be able to do them tomorrow, but they'll be up and posted hopefully tomorrow, late tomorrow, or the beginning of next week. So I know everybody wants to get their calendars printed and ready to hand out, so they'll be up and ready to go then. All right, on to item 11, which is the consent calendar. And just a note that we did pull for consideration next month, item G4, which is the, next week, Los Banos Junior High FFA Student and Advisor Retreat. So that will be brought back to us next week at our special meeting on the 15th. But there were no other pulls or changes to the consent calendar. Are there any pulls on any item from any of you? All right, seeing no pulls, I do need a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion by Mr. Lieb, seconded by Mr. Munoz to approve the consent calendar as amended. Roll call, Tina?
Ms. Gattuso? Yes. Mr. Lieb?
Yes.
Ms. Moran? Mr. Munoz?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Ms. Valadao? Yes. Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next item is reporting out of closed session action. I've been talking too much tonight. We had number of items that we had to have action on tonight. On item C2, 1C2, which is liability claim, I mentioned earlier that we actually had 3 items. The first item was denied. Motion by Smith, seconded by Munoz. There were 6 ayes, no nos, 1 absent. There was the other 2 items. The board authorized the district to settle those 2 items. And motion by Munoz, seconded by Gattuso. Again, it was 6 yeses, no nos, and 1 absent. On item 4, request for waiver from physical education graduation requirement for Pacheco High School student. The board approved that request for the waiver. The motion was by Lieb, seconded by Smith. It was 6 yeses, no nos, and 1 abstention. Next item is discussion, information, and future agenda items. Anybody have anything? Mr. Lieb.
I have one item. I would like to add an item to the July 13th school board agenda. can we discuss the possibility of changing the time and date of our current graduation ceremonies for Los Banos and Pacheco High Schools so that they are being held at different times on the same day in order to allow not only our superintendent to attend both ceremonies, but also all members of the school board and the public who may have family and friends who are graduating from both schools.
So we, a few minutes ago, adopted our calendar, which has the dates approved already. So
Granted, not for next year.
You're not talking about for 24.
Talking about the next available calendar year.
25, okay. So to add something to the agenda, it takes 4 board members. How many, is that something you want to add?
How do you do that? This will be the first time, so we raise our hand, or what do we do?
Yeah, I need 4 people that said that we want to discuss it, so add it to the agenda.
I'm for discussing.
All right?
So my question would be, the staff would have to be in agreement with that, right?
The staff?
This is something that's negotiated in their contract?
No.
So it's not add an extra day to their
Well,
work day?
it is approved on the calendar, so obviously, the calendar was approved this year. If we were to change it this year, we would have to negotiate it because the calendar has been approved by LBTA. So, but we're not talking about for 24, we're talking about 25.
Okay.
So that would be part
Just
of,
discussion,
that would
right.
part of the calendar,
Okay.
calendar committee discussion once we give our input on that.
Okay, I'll agree.
So where are we here? We got 4? We got 4? All right. So we have enough people to add that to our agenda next month. Dr. Marshall? All right. For the 25 graduation year, all right? Any other items for future agendas? Okay. We are going to go back into closed session. We were not able to finish our closed session items. So we're going to go back into closed session after this meeting. The items that we are discussing are non-action items, so we do not need to report out after that. So what was going to happen is if we actually were going to get to going home, which we're not going to be able to, but before I adjourn the meeting, I was going to adjourn the meeting in memory of 2 of our employees, and 1 former employee. So we want to, I'll just do it now. Maybe we'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll go into closed session. Our adjournment will come later. Just recently, we lost Chuck Hale, who was police chief in Livingston, but for us, he was one of our football coaches at Pacheco High School, and for a number of years. And he will be missed greatly at that school for all that he has done for that school. So we remember him. And also, one of our former employees, who was actually a 35-year employee here in Los Banos, Dave March, was an administrator in our district, teacher, special ed, counselor. I think he was an assistant superintendent, director of special ed. After that, he was assistant superintendent. So he also left us last week. So with that, just a moment of silence for these 2 great gentlemen. All right, thank you all very much. Enjoy your summer. We are going to go into closed session. We'll adjourn ourselves after that, but if you want to stick around, go ahead. But if I were you, I'd go home. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here.